How's it going, comic book fans? Welcome back to another comic book review on Comic Drops. Today we're diving into the final issue of Manowar Invictus, issue number 4. This is a big one because it wraps up the series and guides us into the resurgence of the Valiant Universe Limited series. Does this series end with a satisfying, action-packed conclusion? Or does Aric's true nature get lost in setting up the resurgence event? Stay tuned to find out. Alright, first let's discuss the narrative of Manowar Invictus, issue number 4. With this being the conclusion of Aric's journey, and a bridge to the resurgence of the Valiant Universe, a lot was riding on how this series wrapped up. The comic opened strong, with Aric and Thyra on Volturnus, having just killed the Tribunal members who were condemning Thyra. Thyra then reveals that her armor sustains her, and without it, she could die. She questions why Aric would even care, given that it's supposedly her destiny to die at the hands of Aric's Manowar armor. The theme of destiny is explored throughout this series, and I appreciate how these characters challenge that concept, especially in a society where it's so deeply ingrained. However, as the comic progresses, things start to unravel. Aric has a vision of Namane, who cryptically warns him that there might not be time. And this is where the story begins to lean into cliches and illogical theatrics. If time is limited, why waste it on vague warnings? It's frustrating because this kind of storytelling feels like a missed opportunity. The scene then shifts to Aric, disguised as a Tribunal member, infiltrating the estate of the villainous Ursus Nox. The build-up to this confrontation has been massive, spanning 2 whole series. We're finally getting the action-packed showdown we've been waiting for. Or so we thought. Then Ursus taunts Aric, but Aric responds confidently, revealing he's not wearing the Manowar armor. This should have been a red flag for Ursus, but he inexplicably just ignored it. The battle, which should have been epic, is disappointingly brief and lacks the intensity we've come to expect from Manowar. Aric ultimately defeats Ursus Nox, but the fight feels rushed and completely underwhelming. Now, this is a reference for you true Valiant fans. This fight should have been the type of action-packed fight like Valiant told in Manowar Volume 1, issues 50X and 50O. Aric's battle with Alloy was 2 whole issues of non-stop action and fighting. Aric's face-off with Ursus Nox should have been handled in the same way, based on the fact that they've been teasing it since 2023. Big letdown, Valiant. The narrative then takes a bizarre turn with the introduction of the Chimera, a creature powered by the essence of Aric's exo armor, Sanhara, I think. Thyra, now wearing the exo armor, swoops in to save the day, killing the Chimera and rescuing Aric. This moment, which should have been a powerful conclusion, instead feels like a forced attempt to subvert expectations by having Thyra take the spotlight. While the theme of destiny is explored, the execution feels like a missed opportunity to showcase Aric's true power and skill in the culminating battle of the whole series. Then the issue concludes with a brief scene where Ivar the Time Walker takes Aric through a portal, setting up the next chapter in the resurgence of the Valiant Universe event. Unfortunately, the rushed pacing and unsatisfying conclusion leave much to be desired with this comic. Manowar Invictus started out strong, but the final issue fails to deliver on the promise of a satisfying conclusion. It's a disappointing end to what could have been a standout series for Valiant. Okay, let's take a look at the visuals of Manowar Invictus issue number 4. Well, here we are at the concluding issue of Manowar Invictus. This series, only 4 issues long, has seen 3 different artists take the helm. Normally, this spells disaster for consistency, but the first 3 issues actually worked out. Fernando Hines Furukawa and Fernando Baldo did an excellent job capturing the intense action and unique feel of the series. However, with this issue, the switch to Pablo Rey for pencils and the nameless Brushu Studio for colors has sabotaged the visual impact of Valiant's flagship character. From the opening pages, it's clear something's off. Aric's portrayal is inconsistent, and the quality only declines as the issue progresses. One moment he reminds me of a troll, the next he's nearly unrecognizable. The inconsistency in character design, especially with Aric, undermines the entire issue. Just take a look at how he changes from panel to panel. For another piece of hilarity, take for example the scene where Aric and Namane are running away from the imploding palace of Ursus Nox. It's supposed to be intense, but instead, it looks like they're casually jogging away from a mild inconvenience. The lack of consistency in the art here is frustrating, and it diminishes the impact of key moments throughout this comic. Supporting characters fare no better, and even Ursus Nox himself, who was so imposing in the earlier issues, loses his menace here. The rushed nature of the art is evident in the unfinished feel of the panels, and the lack of detailed backgrounds further detracts from the overall experience. The visuals are just not up to the standard you'd expect from the climax of such a significant storyline. And as for the color work by Brushu Studio, it's okay. The problem is that the art quality drags down the impact of the colors. There's an overwhelming use of purple throughout this issue, which might have worked with stronger art, but here it just feels flat and uninspired. Even the lighting effects, which should enhance the drama, fall flat on their face. On a positive note, the trade dress remains excellent, with a cardstock cover featuring awesome art by Herman Peralta and thick, glossy interior pages. But that's about the only highlight in the visual department. Overall, the visuals are a major letdown, what should have been a visually stunning finale for this series. So to wrap up my thoughts on Exo Manowar Invictus issue number 4, this comic had the potential to be an epic conclusion to a storyline that's been building for years. Unfortunately, the narrative stumbles with rushed pacing, missed opportunities, and cliches that undermine the tension. The showdown with Ursus Nox, which should have been a high point, feels underwhelming and leaves much to be desired. And the decision to have Thyra take the spotlight, while interesting in theory, comes off as forced. And visually, the issue is a mess. The inconsistent art, the lack of attention to detail, and uninspired color work all contribute to a disappointing experience. The only saving grace is the trade dress, but that's hardly enough to redeem this issue as a whole. In the end, Exo Manowar Invictus issue number 4 is a disappointing conclusion to what started as a promising series. I'm hopeful that Resurgence of the Valiant Universe will give Aric the treatment he deserves, but for now, I'm left underwhelmed. Alright, if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Comic Drops, and comment below your thoughts on the concluding issue of Exo Manowar Invictus. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.